welcome, and happy new year. Thanks for joining us here. First video of 2024. We're going to dive straight in and look at the market. Today, we want to start on Bitcoin because it's a big deal. You can see we have the chart pulled up. This is the Maxi model that we've been kind of referencing a few times over the months or so that we've been streaming here. And so this is our model that we track to watch the boom and bust kind of cycles of the Bitcoin Bitcoin asset class as a whole. So this chart goes all the way back to 2010, 2011, and you can see our indicators printing. Bear at the generally really well is calling the top of the bull markets to print its bear signals, and then it's printing bull to signify the start of the bull runs. And it's been doing that very, very accurately for a better part of a decade, more than a decade. So very, very well. And as you can see here, the very, very last candle in our line here is finally printing bull. So we have gotten our bull print in, and the basically long-term model is calling for a bull market shift here. This is exciting. I'm stoked.
Yeah, this is big news. We've been waiting for it, and like last time we did sell the top. We've played these cycles really well, and and this is the monthly chart again, like we were talking about.
So each candle is a whole month here. So you got quite a bit of history in this one chart.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we were waiting for confirmation, for it to print bull, and also our indicator has this thing called a strength band, and you see how the color needs to match the signal. So if it's bull in green, that means it's gonna go up. Bear in red just means like it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
So we were waiting for both conditions to sort of like.
And there they are.
Yeah, and there they are. So
we had played a little bit long already. If you've been following our videos, we've definitely been a little bit bullish already in the past few months, and that has to do with zooming in on this chart a little bit more than what we're looking at now. And we've been looking at it. Here's the weekly chart, and so we did get our bull print on that weekly chart. Kind of right at the start of 2023. So January 2023, we got our bull print. And then you can see, like Sid was saying, we had a bull print, but we still had the red strength band. And then so once that strength band flipped to green there, that was basically our confirmation, like, yeah, the trend is sticking around. And, from there, we've basically doubled up already because, after that confirmation.
Yeah, exactly. I think like more than doubled. And if you watch this, how our indicator works is also that our strength band kind of acts as support in a bullish trend. It acts as support, and in a bearish trend, it acts as resistance. So we can see here how like the first price dropped, it exactly wicked there.
Yeah, and right to the band. Right to the which would then, if we are in a bullish trend, like you said, then the band should be support. And it was.
Exactly.
So you can see it found support there and bounced and continued.
Bounced, and then so even with every pullback and pump, like the strength band has like acted as support. And so this has been pretty easy basically to trade with. And if you go back to the long term, so we were kind of already like looking at the weekly chart, we were already seeing signs that the market had bottomed. Yeah. And so we had started buying spot, basically our spot bags for the oncoming crypto bull market. But we were still waiting for the monthly to confirm to go all in, basically.
Yeah. So, that was also partially influenced by the kind of like trend within the cycle. So I'm glad you kind of shifted back to the long-term cycle, where you can see that the peaks, right around where we're getting the bear prints, tend to be, not the peaks, but the valleys of like the bear markets after these peaks, they tend to bottom out near the previous peak. So you can see, like you're saying, we had a little. We've been buying spot for a while. We got in a little like before this current monthly print, but a lot of that is also informed by at that time we were seeing the chart flip to bull. The price was around $18,000 to $20,000 for Bitcoin, which if we look at the chart, the previous high was around 18 to 20,000.
Yeah.
And so that
Um,
very much was in line with that. And so, we got kind of, not only were we getting our favorable signals from our trading buddy indicator, but we were also getting, this kind of trend that you can see. And it's in line with what it had been in the previous market. And you can even see, that peak where we're at, 19, 20,000, like not the
yeah.
previous bull
That's,
market, but the one before. You can see when it sold off and it dropped all the way down there. If you were to draw a line from the bottom of that just straight back, it should match relatively well with the peak of that previous one.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so
So it tends to do that in the cycles, and like Max was saying, like we've kind of already have this curve, which also acts as like points to buy
yeah,
for long term, which acts as support,
yeah,
and
and there you go.
so we
That's
use
why,
that.
yeah, since we
Yeah,
had hit the
exactly.
curve, we're expecting it
It
to
hit the
bounce
curve,
here.
just buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But we also use that indicator for like a confirmation. So these are
exactly.
all like great tools that we have. And even if you don't know any of the TA, all you had to do was this: like look at the weekly chart, bull, just buy. It's
Yeah,
like easy,
yeah,
more than 2x from where the bull signal was. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And also, but going back to the monthly, like this gives us a price. This gives us an idea of like, as long as it follows this sort of channel, this curved channel that we're in, then we can pretty much estimate where the top and the bottoms are going to be.
Yeah. Or
And
at least where we want to target some profit taking. Even if
exactly.
we're wrong and the model doesn't hold true, at the very least, we can get a sense of like, hey, we have a plan and an exit strategy before we open a position. And that's
Hmm.
always, as a trader, that's always what we should be doing. We're not kind of making it up as we go along. We're making a plan and then we're following a plan.
Exactly. So if Bitcoin and crypto basically follows the same cycles as in the past, which it looks like it is still doing,
Hmm.
the next stop should be around 2025, towards the end of 2025, and that would put the price of Bitcoin around, like, I believe 120 to 130K.
Hmm. Which
So
is
around there.
great, which is
So
great, but that's a long shot from $1 million, which
yeah, exactly. So we're not gonna. I don't know. I'm not into following all these,
the
ridiculous
hopium.
claims that, like, oh, we're gonna see $500,000 $1 million.
Yeah,
I mean, it's stayed within this model for a decade. So
yeah.
I mean, when we reach the end of the channel, of course, then there's some uncertainty whether we like break up, down, or we just flatline
Flatline
for a bit.
continue.
So,
Yeah,
but while we're still trading within this channel, I think we can, it's fair to say we can kind of at least guess, if not estimate, as to like where the bottom and the tops are going to be. And like
yeah,
Max was saying, it's just another, it's another helpful sort of aid for us to like take profits.
exactly.
And there's no harm in taking
Because
profits.
it's really hard to take profits when your stuff is
Yeah,
just flying to Mars.
yeah,
If
exactly.
this is going to
So
be your first time in crypto and this is your first ride on this kind of roller coaster, it can be really exciting and really cool. You put in let's say you put in $100, and then a couple months go by and you have like $200 or $300, and it's you feel like you're on top of the world, and it's really hard to then take the money off of the table when $300 is turning into $330 by the end of tomorrow. So it's like,
yeah,
well, if I take the money, I'm missing out on the 30. So like there's a lot of ways that you'll then rationalize not taking profit. And so when you
exactly,
when you have a plan for taking profits on the front end, you kind of can take that emotion off the table and be a little bit more level-headed with your trading, which
exactly.
taking those emotions out isn't easy. So
No,
it's
it's not.
it's definitely
And
a good practice to have a plan, and that it definitely helps.
yeah, and as far as like plan goes, I think our plan was, that we started entering into long positions when we saw a bull signal on the weekly, which we did the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of last year, basically. And and then we were waiting for this to confirm bull too on the
Yeah.
monthly, and to go all in,
Yeah.
which I mean, there might be dips, like you see, nothing
Yeah.
goes up in a straight line, but every dip will just be an opportunity to buy the dip.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think the
Uh,
dips from here on out, the dips moving forward are the opportunities to start entering my all in, position. Because, like you say, when you say, like, oh, when I get this print, I want to go all in, that doesn't mean I want to, in the single transaction, throw all of my life savings into something. What it
yeah,
more means is, like, okay, I want maximum exposure from this point forward. And so now I'm going to be looking for opportunities to get that exposure. I'm not going to
exactly.
do it right now, this spot, whatever the price is, everything else be damned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
So yeah, so we're just gonna hold. This is long term
yeah,
plan, more like an investing strategy. I mean,
exactly.
we day trade every little up and down. That's different.
Yeah,
But this is
that's
more
just for
like buy
fun.
and hold. Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just fun. This is more
Yeah,
like
that's fun.
this is
Exactly.
like an
This is just
investing strategy. Yeah.
this is this is like a 2 year investing strategy or whatever.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do is basically take some profit when we see the price either hit the top curve, or
Hmm.
we just get a bear signal with an indicator. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Once we
Exactly.
get a bear signal with the indicator, we're just going to exit. It doesn't matter what the price is.
Yeah.
We're going to exit,
Exactly.
and it
Exit,
served
take
us
profit.
well
That really, and
in
that
the
was
past.
so hard when we were taking profits because that was like it had got to like
Yeah,
65,000. We got our bear print, and you can see, the bear print happened on a down sell. So by the time it was like confirmed, we're at like 55, 57K, and
yeah.
I was kind of like,
It
and
confirmed earlier on the weekly though, but yeah, on the
that's true,
monthly,
yeah, on the monthly, yeah.
it takes a little more time.
And then it
But
did
yeah,
come back. It came back to 65 from 55, and then
it did
and
like
then
a
it sold
double
down
top.
to below 20. But so I did sell most of my stuff at that first 55, and then I
Hmm.
watched after selling it, I watched it all come back up. And
Yeah, that was really hard.
the bull signal did come back though. The bear was still
No,
there,
the
and I was
indicator
like,
was. We should have just stuck with it.
I'll wait. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
it can
that's the
be hard.
thing.
It sucks because
It
then you
can.
get that the FOMO gets even more real when it's like I had this and I no longer have it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and then on top of
So
all of this FOMO, there is this great tidbit of news and excitement right now in the space, and that is surrounding the approval of the ETF uh,
yeah,
in the crypto
that's
markets.
why it's pumping. That's why I think. But it was already building a base for
Oh yeah,
the bull market. So like the ETF, definitely it adds some fuel
yeah,
and juice to the whole
and
thing.
as people who pay really close attention to this stuff, again, obviously it's easy to be like, oh, this stuff is priced in, or people are aware of this, but like being a more realistic, member of this kind of market, the majority of people who stick to stock and trading equity assets have no idea there's an ETF on the horizon. Like
Yeah,
of retail people, obviously professional traders and firms, obviously they know
yeah,
what's up.
sure.
But there is definitely a decent amount of retail money that is going to become aware of this basically the day it gets approved, more so than people like us who are like, oh, when is this going to happen? And, or like
Mhm.
the people in the chats who are all like, here, oh, this is coming. We're all watching the news. We all have like, this is on our radar. I think there is definitely a decent size of the retail crowd that this isn't part of their radar. And so
Yeah,
that's definitely a lot of what, drives this hype of like, oh, we can front run the madness of people like acquiring these new ETFs once they become approved. And just to that, like, and I just wanted to reiterate really quick what the ETF really is you will be able to buy from your brokerage account where you buy and trade stocks and equities and securities. You'll be able to buy, Bitcoin, which is held by BlackRock, and you buy a share of BlackRock's held Bitcoin, and you can do so with your trading portfolio. So what you're doing when you do that isn't necessarily putting buy pressure onto the Bitcoin price directly. It's putting buy pressure onto the derivative asset, which is the ETF. And so
mhm.
that buy pressure only translates into Bitcoin buy pressure if it exceeds, the amount of Bitcoin that BlackRock has made available to sell as ETFs. And that could very well happen if, everybody starts like getting excited about this, aping into ETF versions of Bitcoin, and then BlackRock needs to buy Bitcoin off the open market to shore up its reserve and be able to, issue the ETFs in a way to stay solvent with the demand.
Right.
So we'll have to see what that demand is before we can actually know how this is going to affect the market. And
Right.
it could
And
honestly go either way. It could straight up be like the ETF gets
yeah,
approved and the price tanks, just because everyone's been
yeah,
trading on this rumor and on this hype kind of train. So
you're right.
we'll have to
My guess is like it probably like just pumps a little bit, just like a blow off top, and then it like
kind of
and then
starts
it just
chilling.
just starts dropping after that, just to you know,
Kind of
and that's kind of like my guess at
I
least. But
agree.
we'll
I
have
think
to see.
there's quite a few people trading long with leverage lately too on a lot of these exchanges, and I think a lot of that needs to be kind of
Yeah,
liquidated,
reset.
yeah, chilled out before we can
But
actually pump to the next like big rally.
exactly. So as far as like looking at this sort of pattern, as far as price predictions go, I think we're estimating around 120 to 130K if the bull market ends in like the end of 2025.
Yeah,
That's what Bitcoin would be at. And then let's looking at Ethereum. So
yeah,
Ethereum, this is a monthly chart again. It's been kind of trading in this sort of
it's a
wedge
massive
pattern.
wedge. Jeez.
Like so which I mean I this wedge kind of runs out, I don't know, 2027.
Yeah, halfway through
But
27.
yeah, so like I don't know what's gonna happen after that, but at least if it stays within this wedge, I think like the end of 2025, if the bull market tops out again, that puts the price around 18K for Ethereum, I believe. So
That's actually
that's
substantially higher than some of
yeah,
the projections that are. Whereas,
yeah.
where on the flip side, our Bitcoin projection is quite lower than some of what other people have seen.
Yeah, that's interesting because
Yeah,
like I've heard the same thing. Like people saying that the next Bitcoin is going to $500,000 or like
yeah,
1 million or whatever, and then people are saying that like Ethereum would probably just hit $10,000 and that's it.
yeah. I
So
mean, if
it's
Bitcoin
like
goes to
I don't know,
500,
looking at the chart at least and the patterns that I'm seeing, that
yeah,
this could it's around $18,000 for Ethereum, and then 120 to $130,000 for Bitcoin. So
yeah.
we'll have to
Which,
see.
yeah,
you know,
definitely. I'm excited to see how it plays out. We're
we can
definitely,
check back.
yeah, we'll update. Obviously, the
We'll check
information
back into
changes. Yeah,
this
and we'll be,
2 years later.
yeah, exactly. Or even, on a running basis, just come pop back in, see how our model is adjusting or how our model is, holding up with what actually happens, and
Yeah,
we'll
and
see.
you can see like so the indicator, it's printed bear, bull, bear at the top, bull at the bottom. We had a bear close to the last stop too, and we still haven't got a bull signal because like Ethereum has just been lagging a little bit, but we can see the
Yeah,
strength band starting to turn
starting to
green.
flip. Yeah.
So I think we should get a bull signal soon. But
Also, as an aside from obviously there is the news, there's the like ETF, and obviously
Ethereum
Ethereum
is getting one
is
too,
part of
right?
that too. Exactly, Ethereum has applications out by major institutional players for ETFs as well. But also, it's interesting to note that while the ETF approvals keep getting pushed back and back and back, there are things that cannot be pushed back, like the Bitcoin halving event that is on the books. It's happening end of April.
April, right?
Like it will happen, and the amount of new Bitcoin entering circulation will be cut in half from that point moving forward forever.
Mhm.
So that's a major event on top of like the whole ETF thing.
Supply shock, yeah.
And
So
then
like
yeah, and then when we're talking about supply shock, if we look at Ethereum as well, Ethereum in the past market cycles that we're seeing on the screen here, in those cycles, Ethereum has been an inflationary token
mhm,
where new Ethereum is entering the market every 16 seconds with each block that gets discovered. And since Ethereum has shifted to its proof of stake model now, if you've been paying attention kind of in the crypto space, that was like big news maybe 6 months ago or so, where the Ethereum blockchain moved away from consuming a bunch of electricity into a much more economic or ecologically friendly system where
right.
it doesn't require anywhere near as much electricity now. But as part of that migration in a consensus mechanism, the token itself is now being destroyed for each transaction that is broadcast to the blockchain. And with the recent volume of transactions on chain, the amount of tokens being destroyed is actually outpacing the amount of tokens being minted or issued into circulation. And
Mhm.
so this bull market is going to be the very first time in the history of Ethereum where we're experiencing, a bull market on price action while we're also experiencing a deflationary pressure on the supply. So I think that's very interesting, and that
Awesome.
probably like lines up with why our projection is so much higher for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, where you know
Right.
that's kind of a new thing. Like with Bitcoin, where I was like, oh, there's things you can't change about Bitcoin, like the halving event. Yeah, that halving
Right. Right.
event has been on the books since 2008, like day one of the Bitcoin blockchain launch. Everyone knew there was going to be a halving event happening. You know,
Yeah.
13 years
Yeah.
later or
It
whatever.
was coded in. Yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't a surprise. Whereas what we're looking at with Ethereum, that wasn't part of the game plan starting out.
Right.
So having this transition to a deflationary asset class, that I'm very excited to see how that fares in the bull market, especially considering that Ethereum is, the flagship of decentralized finance and smart contract
Right.
ecosystems. So
I, I mean, yeah, this is great because like you understand the tokenomics way better than I do. For
yeah,
like,
I
for
geek
me,
out.
like I'm just looking at it from a chart perspective and from like TA stuff, and I'm like, oh, it seems to be following this pattern.
Yeah,
And if it still stays, which it should stay within the pattern, then that puts it around like $18,000 at like 2025,
yeah.
the end of 2025, basically.
Yeah, it does.
And
I actually love that you focus on the chart so much because at the end of the day, that matters more.
yeah,
It's like
at the end of the day,
I can find
exactly.
good news about Bitcoin and Ethereum and why there's a bullish case, and I can find bad news about it. But the chart
Yeah,
is
right.
the chart is the chart, and the
Yeah, as
chart
a trader,
is
we approach it, from trader's perspective,
yeah,
and that's just like trade the chart. And like, so look, I mean, speaking of charts, like
yeah,
here's the equities that we had shared actually with our members, like
yes, sir.
just right, I think the beginning of the month, right after like December close. And actually like this week price has been dropping.
It's doing pretty
Like
much exactly
we,
what we're looking for. The pullback, and we're looking for that SR flip now. So the
that's our
orange
flip.
line there, we're looking for that to become the support, and then we're going to push to new all-time highs is kind of the plan for equities in 2024. Uh,
Exactly. And I
bull
think
market is
we've
on.
been talking about this, like we talked about it last year too. Like, it we're probably gonna see equities make new highs,
Yeah,
which the QQQ it already has, but the SPY is still needs to make new highs. But
it's so
I
close.
think yeah, I think it's gonna happen. Like, a lot of some people are calling for a double top or whatever, but I don't know. Our indicator had gone back to bull.
Yeah,
I mean, the band never
it didn't even
flipped.
flip. Like the market's
Yeah, the
so
band
bullish, it's
was
ridiculous.
indicating like this was just like sort of like a bear trap.
Right? It was
And
like,
this
don't
was like,
worry.
yeah, and this whole thing is like also, we call it cup of joe, but like cup and handle pattern
Yeah, the
that we
cup
had
and handle,
shared in
and
our earlier video, and that
still in play.
targets new highs. So like, so after the year closed and the month closed, I mean,
Hmm.
it's predictable that it's gonna like pull back a little bit and then cool off and then bounce on support. It needn't bounce exactly on the line, but it could just bounce a little bit above, and which we saw last week and this week too. So I think maybe next week, or like, we might start seeing it actually like, uh, actually forming a base and start bouncing up.
Right. I feel like
And
if
we
it takes the next 2 weeks or so, then it's going to form a base right in time for the FOMC meeting at the end of the month.
Oh yes,
Maybe
that's
we
coming up too.
right, yeah.
Which they're predicting that like they're going to start cutting rates, right?
Oh, and
That what
that would be
I
wonderful for
that's what I'm
us.
hearing.
I'm hearing rumblings, but I believe it when I see it. There's no fucking way
Exactly.
that feels reckless, but hey, that they've been very reckless for very long. So if they're going to keep it up, then
Yeah.
that just means the money printer is back on and the markets are going to keep climbing. So
Which
we'll
will
play the
also
trend.
help the crypto market. So
Oh
because
yeah,
like we need the money printer on for both the markets
yeah.
to
I don't know. I feel like that's the only way I see Bitcoin going to $1 million is if they just get reckless with the money printer and just inflate the value of the currency to shit, and then Bitcoin is worth $1 million. But $1 million has the
or
spending power of 180.
exactly,
Yeah,
or maybe like it keeps going in this pattern towards the end, and it runs. The runway. There's no more runway for it, and then maybe it breaks up.
that's true.
You
Yeah,
know, that could be it from a chart perspective. That's what it could be, and same way for like Ethereum.
you get to
If you
that
look at
wedge.
it, like it's like rising, and then like it breaks up from here, and that will be like that'll accelerate the price like
Yeah,
fast and hard.
yeah, and the legitimacy of these assets as like a store of
Yeah, the
value.
market cap at those prices would be like insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's already like like it can't be ignored anymore. And like
yeah,
when I
sure.
first got into Bitcoin, the market cap of Bitcoin was $4 billion.
Yeah, that's like nothing.
Today the trading volume on chain dexes is higher than that. So it's like
Yeah, so
it'll
it makes sense that like the ETF gets approved at this time because there's so
yeah,
much liquidity. Everybody sort of like wants it.
yeah, it's
So fingers crossed, it's going to be a big week. I think the rumors are we're going to get it approved this week, but we'll have to see.
yeah
I
they
mean,
are.
that's not
I'm
like the
hearing a
actual
lot.
final
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of the
deadline. This,
rumors though. A lot of
yeah,
rumors. Relatively credible sources are pretty excited too. So it's not just like the tinfoil hat crowd who's like,
right,
"It's happening," because
right.
they always think
These,
something's happening.
right.
But yeah,
But
but
for
no,
us,
yeah,
yeah, but for us at least, we're gonna continue trading the charts
yeah,
as you've seen here, and we're just gonna look at everything as a chart from the chart perspective. Uh, Up or down, it doesn't matter to us. We're just gonna follow the indicator
yeah.
and our TA, and we're gonna trade it.
Exactly. We'll be updating you guys on how it's going. So stay tuned, I suppose. Come see our next video. And if you want to add this indicator to your own trading view charts, jump on over here to maxi.io. You can sign up for free membership. First month is free. You can try out the indicator, join the Discord, see the conversation, maybe ask questions about crypto trading that you're not sure about, or DeFi strategies you want to participate in, or stock trading, or derivative trading, all that stuff we'll talk about in the Discord there. So if you want to try it out, we'd love to have you. Check us out, and if you want to just keep following kind of from a safe distance, if you will, keep checking out our videos and see how our predictions are faring. We'll come back. We're trying to post, at least once, or at least a few times a month. So we'll check in on all of our kind of predictions, and we'll let you know how what we had been predicting, what's gone right, what's gone wrong, and how our impression of these markets is changing, because we're obviously pulling a lot of this sentiment from the data on the chart, and that data is changing. So
Yeah,
as the data changes, we'll update our sentiment
update.
accordingly, and we'd love to see you there for the updates. So hopefully see you in the Discord and join up with Maxi. Otherwise, thanks for watching our video, and we'll see you in the next one. Happy New Year again, guys. See you.